Hey guys, welcome to Bowhunting Soul. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about an easy way to sharpen your broadheads. Now, I've done some previous videos on file sharpening, and I might actually redo that one because I don't think it came out very good, honestly. But if you search some of my earlier videos, you'll see that I have a file sharpening one. And I actually like file sharpening myself. I like doing that just because I find it therapeutic. It takes a while, you know, it's nice and slow. But if you don't have the time to do it, or you don't want to do it, or if you know you're sharpening challenged, well, I've got the tool for you, and that is the Worksharp Sharpener. Now, they have several different versions of these. Okay, this is like the absolute smallest one, and it suits my needs. And by the way, you can sharpen broadheads and knives, like kitchen knives or pocket knives or anything like that that you want. So I'm going to actually talk about this. Now, if you wanted to check anything out like this, I am an affiliate with Amazon, and I will leave links below in the description below. So if you do want to check one of these out or one of the different versions, then you know, if you go through my link, then I do get some pennies back, and it supports the channel, it supports the podcast, and I really appreciate that. But anyway, this is it here. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to actually tip this camera in the next scene here, and you're going to get kind of a close-up of what this thing is, how it works, and then we'll actually sharpen something. So stay tuned. All right, so we got a close-up, kind of a close-up of the sharpener. Now again, like I said, this one's a small version. They've got some fancier ones with some different guides, different angles and things like that. I can't even begin to tell you what the angle, what these angles are. Okay, but it's good enough for what I do for broadheads, and definitely for you know, sharpening knives and things like that. So just kind of overview here. You know, you got your on button over here. Obviously, you've got a belt, and the way you actually change the belt. This thing comes with well, when I got it, it came with 3 different belts. You can get different grit belts on here. I believe they're, was it 5/8 wide or 3/4 inch wide? They're not very expensive. You can buy replacement belts. This just comes off. It's just kind of like, you know, you squeeze it together, and it comes off of there, and then there's your belt. And then to change the belt, you see this thing right here? You just push down on that, and then this comes off. Okay, it's like spring loaded, if you can see that. So it's really simple to do. You get your new belt, you put it on, and if you wanted to do coarse, medium, fine, then you're able to do that. So you put the guard back on, and then once you're done sharpening, you've also got the ceramic rod in here. Okay, and the ceramic rod actually has, you see these angled, you can probably see them better over here. See these little yellow pads? Well, that is so that you can take the burr off one side, then the other, then the other, then the other. You can take the burr off once you do the sharpening side with the sandpaper. So it works really well. This is also replaceable. You know, it tends to get smooth over time. This one, I've had this one for about over a year now, easily, and I've sharpened a lot of stuff on it. It definitely needs a new belt on there, but it'll be good enough for our purposes of this demonstration. So anyway, that's it. That's pretty simple. So what we do is we will plug it in, and again, on-off button is here. And see that? It's not very loud. You know, I don't know how loud that's going to sound on video, but it's not very loud. So then what you do is we're going to use the guide. If you notice, there's a guide on one side here, a guide on the other. So we're going to basically drag it one way and then the other, and one way and then the other. So I'm going to turn this around because it's actually supposed to be this way. Okay, and if you can see, I'm going to angle, shut that off for a second. I'm going to angle just so it's going to sit like this, and we're going to drag it through this way. And then when we're done, then we're going to drag through this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then we're going to flip the broadhead, and then this way and this way. So let's see how it goes. You allow, or you apply even pressure and try to have an even angle. It's kind of hard a little bit sometimes with the ferrule on here. Okay, this thick ferrule over here. It's not like a knife blade, where a knife blade will be like nice and flat. Okay, you can do the knife too. We can do this knife right here. right? And you're not trying to put a ton of pressure on it. You're trying to keep it nice and even, and keep the blade from twisting, right? I mean, you got to have a little bit of skill in this, but that puts a nice edge on there. When you have this ferrule over here, it kind of, if you look at it, obviously, it's thick over here and thin up near the front. So you got to be a little bit more careful with it, with your angle. And then you flip it. You can see sometimes it kicks a little bit in my hand. It's just you gotta get a little bit of a feel for it. But I mean, it puts a really nice edge on there. Like I said, this one is a little bit dull, and I do need to order new belts for it. And you're just applying even strokes. Try not to let it twist as it, as it kind of pops out, from one side of the belt to the other, because the belt is kind of springy, right? And it's going to give you a nice edge. Now, the last thing that you do, of course, is that when you raise a burr on here, of course, I would do this a little bit longer, and it would, I got a little more ways to go on this one, right? But what it does is it raises like a little bit of a burr, right? A little bit of an edge, just like any other sanding method or sharpening method would. So then you take your broadhead and you lay it, again, using this as a guide as best you can, and just what you're trying to do is you're trying to knock that wire edge or that burr off, and then you come back up this way. Okay, try to keep that angle as best as you can. Okay, and you just keep lightly going back and forth until you no longer have a burr on this, and then of course you flip it over, and then you do the other side. So, okay. All right, so there you have it. Pretty easy. I didn't go through the whole, this thing right now isn't razor sharp. They needed, they needed a little bit more. It may take you, maybe 10, 15, passes or whatever. Be aware, on a new belt, I mean, it'll, with a coarse belt, it'll zip through metal pretty quick. So, you got to make sure you get a feel for it, depending how worn the belt is, what kind of grit the belt is, that sort of thing. But yeah, this thing's pretty cool. Work sharp. It's really small. It's really quiet. It's not obnoxious or anything like that. So if you don't have any kind of sander at home or another kind of belt sander, this thing is absolutely perfect for that. It works really good. Again, I'm going to leave it, a link in the description below to Amazon, and not much money, and it will honestly, I mean, it will make your life a whole lot easier with broadheads, and again, as well as like kitchen knives. I mean, I'll do the kitchen knives back here with them. I'll do my pocket knives with them, and it just puts like a really nice quick edge on there, and the replacement belts are like super cheap. So anyway, if you like this, go ahead, click on the link below, and like, share, and subscribe to the video, and let me know if you want me to do any more reviews and things like that. So I tend not to do like the very latest and greatest stuff. I tend to do reviews on things that I've actually been using for a while. Like I said, I've been using this for about a year, and I absolutely love it. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys.